Hello everyone, this is my fifth and final pocket bullet journal system flip through, or flip around if you prefer. This is a pocket-sized Leuchtturm in hardcover, and the colour is called Army, and this is how I carried it. Without these stickers, of course. These are archive stickers that come with the Leuchtturm, and I added them afterwards, but other than that, this is how I had it. Just a mechanical pencil, light cheap plastic mechanical pencil, and I would set up all my systems in advance in pen and then write in pencil so I could make changes. I don't really use pencil anymore from most of my planning. I suppose I would again, but I use generally pen, and especially for journaling itself, so the other side of things, for journaling I use fountain pens now. I know. So, same as ever before. Hopefully I've censored any personal information. I try. We've got our typical Leuchtturm 3-page. Oh, we haven't actually. This one only gives you 2 pages of index. Well, anyway. Other than that, it's very much the same. So, got my year at a glance, which I never use. I just kind of do it out of sheer pig-headedness. And I've got my future log, way simpler than anything I've done before. If you saw my bullet journal number 4, you saw the hours and hours of work that I spent doing those Celtic headings. So here, all I've been doing is just using a calligraphy pen like this and doing very simple headings, and I actually still use that system more or less now. So birthdays and presents and my reading list and music list this time around have absolutely no decoration, just a few icons and things. And it's funny because I have actually used it more. Maybe as a result, maybe it's coincidence. But other things I simplified too much. This, for example, is my thought shelf, or my kind of pigeonholes into which I was going to put thoughts. And I used this even less this year. In my defense, I was going to come back and put stickers here instead. These were just kind of planning out the shapes of the holes. And then here's my packing list, which I now use all the time. So I always have one of these in my planner. And even in the 6 months of this bullet journal, so even between June and November of last year, I used this multiple times because I travelled a lot last year. Ironically, now it's 2020 and one can't travel pretty much at all year. But using a system like this, I was able to get packing down to like half an hour tops, and it just made life so much less stressful. You really just don't have to think if you've planned ahead like this. And then, of course, some things you may not need. So you may not be going somewhere where you'd need a swimsuit. So, but the point is, you don't have to forget it and then regret it later. Even my finance spreads were really simple now. So just saving and spending. Funnily enough, you can see I've kind of cancelled that because actually most of my money stuff now lives in currently in this plastic Filofax, which I quite like. It's quite cute. This is a domino spot pine, and in here I have finances and other house stuff, reference things which I will always want to come back to, that I don't want to be writing over and over again in a tiny notebook. So that's my house reference planner. And then even my monthly spreads are quite simple. I'm still doing my 1 line per day. My weeklies are in pretty much, really this time they really are pretty much in Hobonichi Weeks format. So it's not a coincidence that I switched to the Hobonichi Weeks not long after this. In fact, this was obviously my last bullet journal in combo form, so in journal/planner form, all in one notebook. In July 2019, my company sent me to China for 2 and a bit weeks. So it was all lots and lots of traveling, and then I ended that with, because flying to China takes a lot of Greta Thunberg units, so I combined it with a trip to Thailand on the way back. While I was in China, I started a mini fun project of noting down amazing and inspiring and strange and surreal English t-shirt slogans, and my idea was I would make them into a tarot deck because they kind of weirdly corresponded with the tarot. But that's the kind of crazy project that you can just carry around with you in your little notebook. And my reviews took this form, so I would have my sort of 9-point self-chosen like categories by which I was measuring my overall happiness and wellness. The reason I did this is because I had gone through a period where things really weren't great, and so I learned to start monitoring things, and including my sleep separately. So I really looked at my sleep because I decided that was a big issue, which obviously it always is for everyone. And I just did the simplest possible finance tracking at the top. And then, as always, I had my habit tracker dots. Let me see if I've got a better version of this from another month where I actually did that. It'll probably come up, but I still collected my dots and put them in that system where if I do enough healthy habits, then that increases the amount of frivolous spending that I do in a month. Then we have more of these spreads. In August, my theme was, as ever, based on stickers from Little Rainbow Moon. She's on Etsy, or she was. She now is at her own website. I will link it below because apparently that's the done thing, and I would really like more people to support her because I want her to keep doing business because I love her stuff. So please go and support Little Rainbow Moon. And here's a much better example. So here's my usual habit tracker. Here are the surplus habit dots that didn't fit in the jar, and here's what I spent them on. Yup. And yeah, so I don't want to show everything. September looks empty, but I mean, because this is my personal planner, and here, this spread, speaking of the line per day spread, has moved into the weekly spread now in preparation for a week style setup. So this gets awkward to share now because my weeklies now also combine some micro journaling, so that makes it harder for me to share. So I'm going to kind of do this sort of annoying thing. So September was gentle pastel colors. October was this travel and mountains theme. Again, I'm still sticking to the same format, but interestingly, yeah, it's like nothing happened in October. So I really needed, what this tells me now is that I really needed to split these things up. I needed to track and plan in one or even two different systems, and then that meant that I didn't have to be carrying around my private personal thoughts with me in the same tiny book as my practical and sort of logistical and financial and health related stuff. So separating them in the end was the answer for me. So here, for example, I've basically done a hobo week spread. So I've got my reminders and appointments down the side. I've done micro journaling here, which I've semi-covered up. I'm still doing my meal planners. I'm still doing my habit dots. I'm still having one corner that's prettied up in some way. I've got my weekly checklist. This is exactly what you can do in hobo weeks. Exactly the same. So that's why I knew I had to change. And then got to the end of November 2019, and just like last year, this time in 2018, I started getting crazy obsessed with ring planners. Now I'm crazy obsessed with the hobo weeks. So I used it until mid to late November, even ripping out pages to take notes, although that was probably while traveling. So practical for traveling, these little guys. But then I switched to the hobo weeks, as I have shown you in another video that maybe I haven't uploaded yet, but I'll show you how November came about. So here's my hobo weeks. I've done a whole video about this elsewhere. A lovely squidgy cork cover. And for November, I used the following year's March spread. And then as soon as the dates lined up, so 25th of November, I was straight into this thing. And you can hear all about that in my Hobo Weeks video. But for now, that is enough blathering from me. I'm going to put this 5th little bullet journal back in my drawer and just be glad of it. And yeah, I'm just happy that I went through this process and that I've discovered what a huge range of stuff you can do with blank books. So I hope you're also having fun with empty books, and if you have comments, do please let me know. And I will speak to you again soon. Bye bye.